What is up, my beautiful people? Hope you're all having a wonderful day. Exile 451 here with you again for another daily dose of Reddit Happy. Keep at it, guys. You're almost through the work week, and then it's the glorious weekend. Going back to r/self-improvement today for a story I'm sure you're gonna love. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the video. Here's another post about education and my experience in the world after dropping out of high school. My reflection, if this helps even one person, is worth writing. I am a 24-year-old single mom. I live in a one-bedroom apartment with my 4-year-old son. I work a desk job full-time for $14 an hour. I am poor. And at one point, I needed food stamps. I dropped out of high school when I was 16, at the end of 10th grade. My mental health was poor at best, and like any angsty teen, I had no desire to go to class. I always skipped or feigned sickness, didn't do homework, had to repeat classes, and eventually said screw it and left with the promise to my parents that I'd just get my GED. My parents never pushed me to get it, or hounded me about it, and at the time, I was very glad they didn't because I wasn't in the right mindset to study for it. I didn't give a crap about school or my education, and if they pressured me to do it, I know I wouldn't have done well. Because I didn't care. And I continued to not care for almost 8 years. When I was 17, I got my first job. I put on my resume that I'd gotten my GED because, why not? They weren't gonna check, and they didn't. From 17 to 19, I bounced around to various jobs, none of which checked the validity of my education, that put money in my pocket, and I lived like a regular teen, going out and getting drunk and having fun. And then I got pregnant before my 20th birthday. And it was hard. I lived at home, worked as much as I could, and with the help of a generous amount of child support, I was able to put my son in daycare full-time, land the job I have now, and get an apartment. In 2016, though, after being in therapy for 3 years, my therapist made me realize that not having my GED was weighing on my subconscious. I was having constant recurring dreams about not finishing high school. It was affecting me and I didn't even really know it. But even after finding this out, I didn't want to get my GED. It stressed me out to think about it, to study, to find a place to take it, and I wanted nothing to do with it. And I never had any inclination of going to college afterward or anything, so who cares? Even before I dropped out of high school, I knew I never wanted to go to college. The idea of having huge debt for a potential job I'm not even guaranteed to get was out of the question. I even looked down on people who wanted to go. I think deep down, I was jealous and angry that I never could commit to even finishing 10th grade, and therefore lashed out at people who did. But eventually, I bit the bullet and took my first test. The one I'd heard was easiest to pass without studying. Social studies. I took it without studying and passed. Over the next 2 years, I took the science and language arts tests, passing both with minimal studying. And then there was math. I have never been good at math. I hate math. And when I say I'm not good at it, I don't mean I sometimes have trouble solving algebraic equations. I mean I'm 24 years old and I literally don't know my multiplication tables. I can't do simple addition without using my fingers. I am completely unable to do basic math without a calculator, let alone pre-algebra or a GED math test. So I rejected the idea of completing my GED. Thinking about studying for math was the heaviest stress I carried for years and years. My therapist knew. She always encouraged me to get it. She believed in me, but I didn't believe in me. I wasn't ready until a month ago, my coworker sat with me outside during a smoke break and told me to start thinking about my future because the company we work for probably isn't going to last another 10 years. He said he was worried about me because of the fact that I have no real skill set. It's true. Receptionists are a dime a dozen, and I know this, and wanted me to seriously consider what my future held. I remember thinking, oh great, I just got this job like 2 years ago, and I thought I'd be able to stay here for, like, ever, because I love this job. But no, here he is slapping me in the face with the reality that I'm going to need some sort of education to really make it if our company tanks. And I am so glad he did, because after he said it, I thought about what my future would be like in 5 or 10 years. Still making $14 an hour at this job? Maybe 15? Is this the kind of life I really want to have and subject my son to forever? I thought a lot about it. Here I am, 24 years old, no GED, working a desk job with a young child, burnt out on living paycheck to paycheck and truly coming to terms with potentially doing this for the rest of my life. Let me tell you, it's one thing to think about working with no formal education when you're 17, but when you're 24 and have already experienced it, it's drastically different. So, immediately after my coworker tells me this, I begin studying for my math GED. I used Khan Academy and all kinds of other online test prep to prepare, because I was so incredibly behind with math. I studied everything from the ground up for about 2 weeks straight, 5 to 7 hours a day. And I enjoyed it. I liked learning. My brain seemed to be so thirsty for it, considering I hadn't looked at any sort of school-related content since I dropped out. And then I started thinking about college. I am completely ignorant to what college is all about. I don't know how financial aid works, if I'd be able to even get enough to go to a school, which schools I'd be able to get accepted to. I didn't know anything. So naturally, I did a lot of research, and I realized that I need to go. As much as I don't want to and have advocated against for so long, I have to. And thinking about it as a reality was pretty exciting. But I'd need to finish my GED first. Today, I took my math test and passed. I got a 160, and the minimum amount being required to pass is a 145. And now that it's all over, 8 years since leaving high school, I'm reflecting on my journey. Do I regret not finishing school? Absolutely. Do I wish I would have thought more seriously about college? You bet. My point with all of this is that even if your image of school and education is tainted like mine was, please still consider the outcomes. Take my story and learn from it. Better yourself. Get an education. If you can do your best in high school to prepare for getting accepted into a real great college, do it. I certainly wish I had. Well, OP, that is a great story of you coming to a realization of what you really needed in life. And that coworker sounds like a good friend to be looking out for you like that. You know, college may not be for everyone, but it is so important to continue furthering your education. Be it in a trade school, a coding academy, any sort of college or university, anything to keep giving you that edge above everyone else so that you can eke out a good future for you and your family. It's good to see that you're proactively taking steps to better your future. Just make sure to get a degree that you can actually market these days. Computer science pays really well. Seriously, that is so awesome. You're taking steps to better your life, to make things better for your son, and realize that dream that you have of not living paycheck to paycheck. Thank you so much for sharing your story. I wish you the best. Please update as college progresses and let us know how you're doing, because I'm really interested to hear how it goes for you. And thank you again so much for sharing. Thank you all so much for tuning in today. I truly appreciate all of you taking time out of your day to come and support the channel like you have been. Please make sure to hit that like and subscribe button if you enjoyed the video. Now go have an awesome rest of your day. I'll see you all tomorrow. Until then, I'm Exile451. Stay beautiful, people.